Hello and welcome back to Adobe Live for Fancy Friday streams. And look at those guys, honestly.
The Fancy Friday stream.
Rufus straight from Italy and obviously Viking Tony.
Yes, Vikings
joining us from.
I'm disappointed with this costume actually because I bought a sword separately, yeah, and I read the measurements wrong. I thought it said 22 inches. It wasn't. It's in centimeters. But anyway, not to worry. It's great for opening letters.
That's a great
Or
sword.
like pumpkin carving, like Halloween time. Maybe one
Hold
of
it
those.
closer to the camera. There you go. No.
Yeah, and
oh my goodness.
good morning.
I'm the only one who didn't dress up.
Yeah, no, you didn't?
I didn't. I'm sorry. This is just me.
Yeah, no, Charlie, eyes wide open because now it is time for Adobe Live.
Yes,
It is, but guys.
And it's the Friday stream with Tony Harmer.
Hello.
Tony.
Yes.
What is it going to be about today?
It's going to be InDesign and mainly interactivity in InDesign. So you can go ahead and make those rich documents that you can share.
All right, but we also have like a special little thing we want to talk about, which is a cool activity from the stock team.
Yeah,
and they've provided free Zoom backgrounds. So we just want to to share with you in the community how these can be used for your to make your Zoom meetings more colorful, more interesting, or or if Tony, you have a really nice background, you don't need them?
No, you don't actually. It's just one of the things when you're in Zoom, you can tell it if you have a green screen or not. It's just that we happen to have two in here. So I just thought I'd pin this one up behind. But no, you don't need it. It's really, really good at intelligently working you out from the background. So
how do you actually find these Zoom backgrounds? Actually, let's put the link in the chat, Tim.
Yes,
oh, there
Tim.
we go. Oh, there. It's from the Adobe.com blog. Zoom backgrounds from Adobe stock. Perfect.
Absolutely. And you get to this library, which you'll see just here. I'm looking at it inside of a browser. And then you find the image that you like, and you just go ahead and find the little ellipsis underneath. Click on that, and then choose
Going for
download.
this rainbow, Tony.
Yeah, well, I've actually downloaded a few already. What you should do is guess which one I'm going to use first. But there you go. I'm going to save that file. And then when you're in Zoom, now this is going to be slightly difficult because you're not going to see my Zoom controls. So I'm going to have to describe it to you. Okay, what you do is you go to the video icon, and then you've got a small disclosure triangle. And when you click on that, you'll see choose virtual background. Okay, and that takes you then into the preferences or the settings, which you can see.
I'm following along right now.
Yeah, cool. And you can see here, I've enabled, I've got a green screen because I do. Okay, and then you can choose your background. So you'll need to load it separately. These ones come with Zoom. We can't use those because they're not licensed for us here, I don't think. But anyway, so I'm going to choose add image. Then here I've got some Adobe stock backgrounds, and I think I am going to use, let's have a look, maybe not the plain, maybe not the geo, that one, definitely.
This is what the chat had guessed. Yep.
It's either that or the cat with lasers, which I think I downloaded as well.
Wait,
so
I need to join in. Okay.
You need to join in because...
Oh, no.
Hey, Tony and Emma, live from the red carpet.
Oh, there we go.
Definitely an interesting turn of events here, and Tony Harmer will get his award for the Friday shows. And
thank you.
The award. You have the award.
I just want to thank everybody. Anyway, that
Oh, I like yours, Emma, as well. Like very.
Ooh.
Yeah, very holiday
inspired.
It.
But you know what? It's holiday inspired, but still with social distancing, I see.
How sad. Now we're talking.
That was super super observant. That was very, very observant. I just want to get the cat with lasers in. Just bear with me 1 second.
I was
That's
really enjoying that
definitely
until I
coming in.
realized it is like way too far.
Yes, check that out.
All right, the laser cat. Yeah.
Anyway, right, we'll perhaps change those as we go on throughout the thing. But shall we get started with some InDesign stuff?
Yes, let's do that.
Yay!
Okay.
InDesign.
I'm gonna leave the red carpet on behind me because it makes me look, you know, like I know
Important.
what important.
It's a good thing. I tell you, we had a Zoom meeting last night, a Zoom party with a friend of mine who's quite posh, and he had a picture of a massive hall, and we couldn't work out if it was really where he lived or if it was his actual place. But anyway, here I am inside of InDesign with a document I've actually started from a template from Adobe Stock, funnily enough, which is a good place to start. And I want to go over, because I wanted to put together a document quickly. And I just want to go over some of the aspects of creating interactive documents in InDesign. Now, I'm primarily going to be targeting InDesign Publish Online for this, or EPUB Fixed Layout. But some of the things that I'm talking about here will also work in interactive PDF, right? So I'll try and remember to point out which things work well for you. So first thing I've got to do, and I'm going to add in some general InDesign tips as well, is I actually want to change this background just here. I'm not as excited as I was about this one, so I want to find a similar one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on it and choose Find Similar Images. It will then open up my CC libraries and start searching and returning some results for me, so I can see some things that are very similar but not the same as what I've got here. And then I could just go ahead, and if there's one I like, so let's just say this one just here. I think I've seen that one before. I think it's in Slovakia, I think. But what I'm going to do is license this one because I've got a separate subscription for stock. I'll confirm that. Okay, and then that starts to come down into my Creative Cloud library. And what I could then do is I could just get the content here. So I'm just going to double click on this because I've got the content grabber behind, and delete the existing content, and then just drag this one in and place it. I've messed that one up a little bit, but not to worry. Let me just select this thing here and drop that in. Okay. Well, there you are. I'm obviously having an epic day of failing to actually operate the system properly, but not to worry. Let's just scale that up like so. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and bring that up like so. There we go. Excellent. So you can see that was really quick for me to do, to get a new image from there rather than having to go out and search and all of those other things.
That is pretty cool. But also, Tony, remember that this is our 30th stream from the sofa here in the UK.
No way, already.
30, yeah.
Wow.
Big 30.
Yeah, big 30. Wow. And it's Friday, so you know we can forgive you these technical glitches.
Thank you.
Live.
It's been a while
holiday
since I've met Big 30.
And it's bank holiday. Yeah.
But nearly, well, anyway, right. Moving on. What I'd also like to do is I'd like to actually pull some colours from this as well. So I'm just going to use the colour theme tool here to actually pick up some colours. If you've never used this before, actually sits nested with the eyedropper tool. Okay, and you can access it using the keyboard shortcut Shift-I. And this is a great thing. This uses some artificial, hello, I'll try speaking normally. This uses some artificial intelligence here, right, to analyze the image and return some results. So if I click on the image, you can see that I get this theme generated, and there are alternates I can use. So this is using colorful. They're all different algorithms to pull out those colors. So I'm actually going to use the colorful theme there. So I'm going to add that to my swatches. Okay. And then I think I'm also going to use this dark one as well, because that will come in really handy. Right. So I'm going to add those to my swatches, but I can still use them even here. So the color I have highlighted, I can go across this text like so, and it applies that color instantly, I'll just choose another color here. Let's go for something from maybe the brights, like so. And you can see how quick and easy it is to apply that. Okay, and I think I'll just return that back to white because that was just a bit much. Nice demo, but a bit much. Right, so that's kind of handy, and I've got those swatches saved for me. So the first element, I guess, of interactivity is hyperlinking. I guess that's the one we ought to do. So I'm going to switch my workspace here to digital publishing, okay, because it has most of the things that I want in here for this purpose. Okay, and I'm going to come across and click on one of these text boxes here. So we'll go for the one in the middle, and then I'm going to open a hyperlinks panel. Now I'm just going to highlight the HTTP in there and replace it with https:// and we'll go to my YouTube. So youtube.com/thedesign-ninja. There we go, like so, and hit return, and it creates me.
It was the Design Viking.
It should be the Design Viking. Well, technically, I should be the Design Lord because I'm a Lord. But
Design Viking right now. Tim, can you hear me? Tim, it's Rufus from the red carpet. Can you Design Viking, please? Okay.
Excellent.
Approved. Seal of approval from Tim and from the chat, probably, guys. Come on.
Here we are. Right, so you can see that here it's named that particular, or it's named the item, or taken the text from the item that the link relates to. It also tells me which page this is on. Okay, and you see the little green light here? Okay, I can click on that and it will verify the URL for me. Now it tells me that this is a valid URL. Okay, but if I click on it, then it will take me out to my channel like so. Okay, I'll come back out of that. So we'll do that one more time, maybe later on, but for now, that's the most basic element of interactivity. The next one is animation. So I think I'm going to do a couple of things just here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to draw a rectangle. Okay, exactly the same as the image size just there. Okay, like so. I'm going to go ahead and go to my swatches, and down here in these folders, you'll see there's a couple of folders there called Colorful Theme and Dark Theme that I picked from the color picker there, or the color theme chooser. And I think I'll have one of these two colors. I think I'll have that bluish color just there, the same as the text above it. But now I'm going to animate it. What I want to do, and it's always a good idea when you are building interactive documents to kind of storyboard them out. Yeah, at that phase, you're more sort of a director when you're working with that. Okay, you're thinking, right, okay, so this loads, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. And if you do that properly at the outset, then the experience of building it should be relatively straightforward. And I often think it's like building a house. If you just had a field and a load of stuff and started building a house, it might turn out okay, but it might be very interesting, and it would probably be a lot of trial and error. So a plan is a good idea. So I'm going to go ahead here and open the animation panel. Okay, and I'll twirl this open. A few of them have things that twirl open like so for some more properties. And it's just called this rectangle to start off with. So I'm just going to call this one Start Mask, like so, just arbitrarily. That's just the name that sprung to mind for this. And then I've got some presets. Now the window above, when I choose a preset, it's going to show InDesign's mascot, the butterfly, okay, showing what the thing actually does. So if I was in any way confused, right, about what fade in actually meant, yeah, the InDesign butterfly will show me, and you can see there it is. And if I hover over it, right, it should fade in like so. Now, every action needs some event to trigger it. Okay, so this is being triggered on page load. It means when InDesign or whatever is rendering the document has everything in place, it will then go ahead and start the animation over. Okay, so the page is loaded, make this thing happen. I'm going to change the duration here. I'm going to make this a bit longer. And in fact, I'm going to go for a very long duration in terms of most animations here. I'm going to go for 2.25 seconds. Just play it once. Okay, take its speed either from the preset or ease it out, which is what I'm going to do here. And just in case you don't know what easing out and easing in are, think about getting into a car and then you're going to go to maybe, I don't know, 40 kilometers an hour. That's the speed limit, let's just say. So in doing that, you're gradually increasing to that speed. So that's easing in. And then you see some traffic lights ahead. So you need to stop. So you start slowing down. So you come to a stop, and that's easing out. It's as simple as that, really, to understand. Okay, so everything here is great. Animate from the current appearance is fantastic. Sometimes you might want to use to a current appearance, but for now, that's just great. Everything there is good. And so the first thing we should do then is test it. And we test that using the EPUB interactivity panel. So if I just click this icon down at the bottom corner here, this panel loads, okay, and you can see that work. Now, not as anticipated, but that's fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually dock this panel because it's kind of useful over here. So I'll just pop that in there so I can use it later on, or I'll try to dock it. Let's just do that and drag that in. There we go. Perfect. So go back to the animation here with my selection tool. So I thought we were going to go from the current appearance to that. So I'm just going to go the other way around. Let's just try that out and test that again. And there we go. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So it's kind of lightening up the design at the same time. If you want to play it again, there's a small play arrow down at the bottom of the interactivity preview window. That's a mouthful to chew out, that is. But there you go. All right, so that's working kind of nicely. Just one more time. And I think the first thing you see there in the main is InDesign and the other stuff and interactive.
And
now the links.
I'm just wondering who in the chat here is actually new about that. That would be interesting to know.
It would.
And also, if you're watching this on YouTube, that's fine. But here on behance.net/live, that's where we're actually looking at the chat and acting on the chat. That's where we can answer your questions and things like that. So pop on over to behance.net/live.
Absolutely.
Or if you're tired of typing, if it's too many letters, it's be.net/live.
It couldn't be tired.
It is a bank holiday after all. So.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
So forgiving.
So here I've got a few different items, and so I've got an old Chinese proverb about happiness, because there are lots. And I think it's a good thing to start a day with a happiness proverb, actually, and take a look at it. I'm just going to choose a color from the colorful themes here for these speech marks at the top. There we go, like so. And I thought what would be nice here in my storyboard for this, okay. Can
we see your storyboard?
No, because it's in here.
Ah, there we go. That was a trick
it's
question.
In here, and the printer wasn't working this morning.
I had to corner you. Make sure you have a storyboard.
Yeah, well, yes, you should make yes. In any other circumstance apart from where you're demonstrating it, you should have a storyboard. So yes, I'm going to point out, but at least I put my hands up and said I hadn't got one. I didn't go, the dog at it. I could have done that as well. Damn. Anyway, not to worry. Right. So what I think would be really good here would be for each of these lines to appear on their own. So I am going to start by selecting just one of these. So just one of the frames just for the moment. And just so you know, these are threaded frames. Okay. So if I click on here a number of times, oh, actually, I might have unthreaded them when I broke them. I did unthread them, not to worry. But they were originally threaded. That's neither here nor there, really. But I'll go to the animation panel. And the first thing I'm going to do is give this a more friendly name because it's taking the name from the contents. So I'm just going to call this line 1. Okay, like so. And then I'm just going to click through these successively and name them sequentially, because naming is the #1 thing after the storyboard that you kind of really need to do to make your life easier when you're working in this sort of environment. Okay, so I'll just go ahead here, line 4, like so. There you are. So they're all named. Now, because I'm going to apply the same effect to all of these, I'm actually going to choose it while they're all together. So I've got a preset here. And again, I'm going to choose fade in for this one. We'll look at another one in just a second. Okay, so we'll choose fade in. The InDesign butterfly again doing its job just there. But now I need to sequence them. Right? I need to make sure that they come in. And this is where you switch into director mode. Okay, so I'm going to go to the timing panel just here. Okay, and you can see the current order, okay, of these things, which I need to swap out. So I need to bring line 1 up to the top. Okay, and you can see that just swapping those around is really, really easy. I'm then going to highlight line 1. Well, that's just fine because it's loading on page load. Okay, now line 2, also on page load. So that's the key event for this, but I'm going to delay this one by 1 second. And if you've ever done anything with sort of a presentation software, it's quite common to do that, right? If you're doing transitions and animations, to have delays from those things. So it's not too challenging. And just to make sure I've done that properly, what we're going to do is we're going to preview that spread. So it's always a matter of previewing those pages, which actually it should be swapping out to this page. Curious. So let's try that again, and we'll click play just here. There we go. Nice and easy. Yeah. So that's working lovely just there.
The line height of the 4th sentence is different than all the other ones.
It is.
I'm
going OCD.
I'm the art director from the red carpet today.
I'll tell you, full disclosure, right? What I had here, so I actually reduced the size of this document using the adjust layout feature about half an hour before we started. And I thought, do you know what? Just to make things easier, I'm going to bring this. It was 1080p, and I brought it down to 960 from here. So I was predominantly working with the paragraph styles that were in there. But you are correct to call me out on that. So, which is good. So there we are.
Blame the tech.
Always blame the tech. God, we've been doing this a long time, man. We know how to do. We know how to do that. Let's animate this.
Jonathan says that was annoying me too, Rufus. Yeah. Yes.
Well, there you go. 2 art directors in the same room, and 3 if you count this one.
521 art directors on the live stream right now. So
nice. Standing behind me, going, yeah, make it a bit more.
Yeah. Like, has your battery run out of the little puppet?
Of the hovering art director? No, it's still got battery.
Okay, let's
see the fun in it. I
What?
like where this is going, but let's just start over. Just trust me. I'm an artist. That's not finished, is it?
And the worst thing
I
is,
didn't know about this guy.
oh, the hovering art director. You should watch the
send it
ads.
to
They're
me.
brilliant. Brilliant.
Missing
Right,
out.
okay. So this one here, I'm going to animate
I'll
this.
send you one, Emma.
Are they still around? You still got, because they're quite rare.
Yeah, I know, but I still have a couple.
Yeah, nice. Right, anyway, I've got this glyph here, which is actually a simplified Chinese glyph for happiness. And I'm going to animate this in. So after all of these elements have come in, I want this to kind of fly in from the right-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my animation panel just here. This I'm going to call glyph, because I will know what that means. These things aren't exposed to your user. It's really what makes sense for you in construction or in your storyboard plan, which we won't mention again. So I'm going to choose the preset fly in from right. Okay, so if I choose that, you get a couple of things go on here. Okay, so the InDesign butterfly is doing its job, relentlessly showing me what that means, which is nice. And it can stop now. But anyway, and I get this. Now, this is called a motion path, and it's actually an object that you can work with. if you need to. So it shows you the direction in which the object will move. So it's going to start over here and move to this point here. The small lines that you see here, or the small dots on that path, they equate to frames. So when we see moving images, what we're seeing in reality, of course, and I'm sure you know this, is the sequential display of some static frames. But if they're displayed quickly enough and there's some similarity between them, we get the illusion of movement. And generally, in the US, things are generally put at 30 frames per second, right? This, I think, is slightly lower on here, but I get an idea of how quickly that's moving. And you can see that on the right-hand side here, they are fairly evenly paced apart. And then around about this middle point here, they start to get closer together. And that just shows me the effect of the easing that's going on as well. So they're going to get slightly quicker there. So we'll test that out again. So we're going to go to our preview here. I'm just going to do a quick save on this as well.
Yep, always a good idea.
And then I'm going to hit the play button just here. So the spread loads or the page loads, all of this stuff comes in. Okay, and then when that's done, boom, in comes that nice and gently like so. Well, I'd like to mix that up a little bit and change the path here. So I'm going to get my direct selection tool. Actually, thinking about it, I could, if I click on it and get the animation panel back up, instead, what I could do is double click on the path. There we go. So I can change the duration of the path and the angle. I'll now switch to my direct selection tool once I've got it. I'm going to bring that up here like so. And just for giggles, I'm going to switch to my pen tool. I've just added a point on here and back to my direct selection tool. Okay, and you can see that I've just added, okay, this kind of tiny bend in that like so. Okay, that will do. It's just going to wobble in. You're only going to see it from about this point here. Okay, so we'll preview that part. Again, we have to load the spread. And in fact, that's the longest part of doing it. It's also the part where you spot errors when you're doing this and you kind of go, it is very, very cyclic. Did you see that? So that slid in at a different angle there. And of course, time over distance equals speed. So the longer this path is, the quicker it will appear to move across, or not. Sometimes longer, but it depends on the preset, but that will have an effect on how the thing is being displayed. So good. Everybody enjoying that so far?
Yeah, and people are coming in. Oh, didn't translate too well, Rufus Deutschler. Oh, my giggle. Okay.
Okay. Now the next bit. This
Jack Watson is in the house.
fairy thing. I'm eating it now.
Jack just arrived. Yep.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah, and you missed.
Is Kirsty in?
Fancy.
Yeah, Kirsty's in.
Mm. Excellent. And all of the other usual suspects, which is really nice.
Absolutely.
So, the next thing that you may want to include in your project, okay, is some motion, right? So moving pictures. And that's something that you've been able to place in InDesign for a long time. And there have been a couple of changes in the last year or so as to what you can actually do with movie content at the moment. And I don't know if that's part of a stage in development, but for the minute, a couple of things are slightly different. I'll talk about those maybe in a minute. So I'm going to place some content just as you would normally. Okay, and this is all about happy places today. Okay, so I'm going to go to this preview from Adobe Stock that I got earlier on. Okay, and then I'm going to place this. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but you could, even if you can't, I'm going to explain what's happening here, and you can try this out in InDesign on your own. I want to align to the top of this text box, but you'll notice I've got no guide to the top of this text box. When you are loading content, if you watch the small arrow in the placing cursor, when it recognizes other geometry on the page, so other objects on the page, you will see that it turns white. Okay, so I now know that that's aligned with that point. And of course, I've got smart guides to tell me other things in other places. But for now, I'm just going to drop this here. Okay, and I'm going to click and drag, and that white arrow will even show up. You can see it now just to the right of my cursor here. There's a small white arrow there as well. And in fact, the guide is showing me it's aligned with those boxes. And so here's a lovely kitty picture, because I do love the cats.
We're gonna break the internet today, Tony. With
what with the cats?
With the
cats with lasers.
And
with your background, with the kitten on the InDesign document.
You know, one of my cats wakes me up at 4:15 every morning.
Huh.
Because I used to get up for work at 4:15 every day.
Whoa.
When I was working at Adobe Maidenhead, I wanted to get in early in the morning, and you know, and then leave a little bit earlier in the day just to avoid all the traffic, because the M25 is, as anybody who's traversed it will know, is dreadful. So I started getting up at 4:15, and my cat hasn't got out of the habit. I don't get up at 4:15 anymore, but my cat still thinks I should, and comes up and literally sits by my head going, and I think what he's saying is, Daddy, biscuits, I want biscuits. But anyway, right, moving on. So this, I set this also, by the way, just before I released this, I held shift down so this would come in all nice and proportional. And the panel I want to work with now, I'm just moving the zoom window off to the side here, actually isn't in this list here. I need to go and get it. But all of the interactive panels live in the same place. So I'm going to go up to the window menu. I'm going to come down to interactive, and this is where they all live. Okay, so media is the one that I'm actually after. So I'm going to choose this, and the media panel opens. Now this gives me a couple of options which are very, very useful. In InDesign 2019 and before, you did have a couple of other options in there, but they've been taken out, I think, temporarily at the moment. For creating your own controllers, but I'll be showing you that in a second anyway. What's very useful here is that I can scroll through the movie, or even play the movie through here, okay, until I get to something, because the frame that's here was probably chosen in another way. And so I can go ahead and get to a frame that I think would make a good poster. So I'm just going to click through that one. Let's just say is what I'm after.
And this is also a very good trick. Like I use this a lot, like when, especially in like university and medical publications, where maybe they have like a movie of an echography, for example, and then they say, yeah, I want you to pull out frame, you know, like minute 123 or something like that. And then instead of like going there, opening, I would just pull in the movie, select the frame, and it was in my document. So
it's perfect.
And also, Tony, before you continue, Adi says, you know, make sure my love gets to Tony, my first mentor when I started my career in the design.
Oh, hello, Claudie.
Yep. Welcome to the Adobe live stream from the sofa, Claudie.
Yeah, well, I mean, some people may know Claudie from the streams that she's involved in that generally go out in the evening time for us here in the UK. But Claudie's made... she's excellent. She does some really, really excellent stuff, and she's doing some streaming in the US. Really nice. Check those out. I think she's doing some of the creative challenges.
Yes.
Yeah, so really good. Do check those out. Big hugs.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway,
but she put 3 hearts.
Oh. Right, I'll be phoning her later anyway. So, right. So the other options I've got here are play on page load. Now, I'm kind of not sure where I sit on that. So my choices around this basically go back to web days, where I think if someone gives me a link, or if I see a link to watch a movie, when I click on the link, I expect to watch the movie straight away. But if I just go to a page and suddenly a movie starts playing, I think that can be really, really unsettling. So my kind of default really is to let the user decide what they want to do. So that's one of the options I've got here. And loop, which is very, very rarely ever a good idea. So anyway, let's just go with this frame here so we can see the default frame. And what I'm going to do is just choose the current frame, right? I could also choose an image. So if I wanted a completely separate image, I could choose that and have that placed in there as well. But I'll go current frame and then just refresh that. And you can see that refreshes nicely there like so. Now, if I test this out in the EPUB interactivity panel, this is one of the limits of that panel. It can't play the movie content for me, right? So if I just go ahead and do the play preview here, right, even though I come up and try and click on this, it's not going to work, right? The controller doesn't do anything for me at the moment. That is one of the limitations of that panel, but I can at least see that the content is there. So the other things I might want to do then is I might want to create some of my own controllers from other places, and you can do that. With the movie content here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, just go ahead and grab one of these shapes. Okay, and there's a drop down here, type, where you choose things, and there's loads of form elements there. If you're doing forms, you really need this drop down, but otherwise you don't need to bother about that, because any action you choose here will automatically turn that to a button. So the action I'm going to choose here, okay, is a video action. Okay, and then it shows me the only movie content that's on this page. If there was more than one, then I'd have to refer to it here from a list. Okay, and then I get some options underneath. So this is the video, and you get a drop down there as well. Okay, and what you want to do with it. So you can see I've got options here: play, stop, pause, resume, and so on. And I've traffic lighted those so we know where we're going to go with this. All right.
And Tony,
yeah.
Jack Watson, the art director. No, not Jack. It's Jonathan actually, who says, "Why is there a gap at the top of the image? Is it lining up with a basic line or a grid or something?" No. The image box is just slightly bigger than the image itself. So yeah. Can you fix that, Tony, and align it to the text again? Thank you.
Do you know I could, but later. But you are quite right, Jonathan. Yes, and it is. I held it down, shift, and the proportions were slightly different. Ordinarily, just so you know, in real practice, I would actually have guides specifically for those places that showed me the proportions of 16:9 for this kind of video, so I'd know exactly where it was going to go. Right, so if you are producing something that is for desktop, by the way, you can actually introduce states for your button, but as this is likely to be consumed on devices, I'm only going to stick with the one normal state here. Okay, so, and the other thing I'd like to do is just name this. So I'm just going to call this play vid there like so. Okay, and the event that triggers it is on release or tap. I'll then go to the next button here. So this is going to be pause, straight to the action, video action. Okay, I'm going to choose pause just here. Okay, and then I'll call this one pause like so. And then the final one here, which you've probably guessed is going to be another video action. This one is going to be stop, and I'll call it stop. Like so. So we're all clear on where we are with that. Now we're going to have to wait just a little while to see that actually work, because I'm going to push this up to publish online so we can see it. Okay, and then we can play the video out just a little bit, and you can see the cat batting the things around. Right, good. Okay, let's do a bit more button-based interactivity here. Okay, so I'm going to go to my next page where I've got this map. Okay, and I've put some markers in different places here. Okay, so this one, I'm going to select this group of markers and I'm going to group them. Okay, and then I'm going to select this group of markers just here. Okay, and I'm going to group those. Then the range just here and group those. And finally, the ones just over here. Okay, so I've created 4 groups there. And I'm going to select each of those groups. And then I'm going to create a multi-state object. Now, if you were watching the stream about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I did actually create a cat-based multi-state object. Just in fact, I think it was all of my pets. I think it had had the dogs in as well. So there we go. Right. So for this, I go to Object States. Okay. And then I click on this button just here. Okay. Which creates me a multi-state object. Now, I could name all of these shapes, and they determine what you're going to see. So let's do that actually. Let's go for this state just here. Okay, and I'll go ahead and name it. So I'll call this one EMEA. Sorry, no, it's Americas. Hello. There, like so. And then I'll go to this state here, which is EMEA. Like so. And this state here, which is Pacific. And then this final one here, which is Asia. Just there, like that. There we go. Nice and easy. So I know exactly what things I'm referring to. Now, what I could have additionally done here, by the way, is introduced a state that was empty. So I've just could have created a rectangle with no visible attributes, so no stroke or fill, and added that so I could have a starting state, because you can see whichever one is highlighted here, yeah, is the one that shows. So I could have had an empty starting state, but we don't need to worry about that now. And I'm just going to call this locations here. Again, naming, so super important. One other thing, when you're naming things, try and avoid spaces, yeah, for best practice, and that will help you if you're producing interactive projects later down the line as well. If you want to separate words, then separate them using capitals. Some people call that camel case there, so you have the words joined together. Concatenated is the correct word to use, but it's a bit long for a Friday, right? So I've got those things, locations, and down here I've got some globes. These are just images in a frame, okay? And I'm going to go ahead and link each one of those to one of these states. So it's back to buttons and forms. So for the first one here, this is going to be a go to state thing. So in the thing I did with cats, we had next state and previous state, so we could cycle through. This one will go to a specific state, which is why the naming is very, very important. So this one finds the object locations. Again, if there was more than one on a spread, then you'd need to select from there. But this one needs to be Europe. So let's go ahead and choose that. So EMEA, just there. Okay, that's fine. I'll go to the next one and go to state again. Okay, so this one's going to be Americas. This one, which is, see, it doesn't take too long to do this once you kind of get into a rhythm, and if you're not having to talk about it at the same time, then it's a winner. You can get it done really, really quickly. But
I mean,
final
you don't talk with yourself while you're working?
I sing good Viking drinking songs.
All right.
Which is kind of ironic because I don't drink. But any more or any less. Right, and then Pacific there, like so. So we can test that out in our EPUB interactivity panel. Okay, and just, you remember, have to come here to play this. Oh, and one thing, if you have interactivity that moves between pages, so you have things that navigate between pages, which is perfectly possible to do, although I'm not doing it here today at the moment, or unless we manage to do it in the time. You'll need to enable this small icon down at the bottom of the right-hand side of the EPUB interactivity panel, because that will load all of the pages into the panel so that you can navigate. Because otherwise, you may do something that says go to page 3, because you could see that action in the list, and you might click on it and think I've done it wrong. You haven't. You just need to load that way. And the reason it loads a single page is because it's less computationally intensive to do that. It means that you can work quicker. It hasn't got to render all of those pages out. Okay, so play this particular spread. Okay, and then if I click on this one, you can see those location markers light up. This one, this one, this one. Nice and easy. And there's a number of different things you could mix up with that as well and create several different states that have different things. I think when this initially came out, I seem to remember, didn't we have an asset that we used to use for demos with restaurants and bike shops and things like that, wasn't it?
We had all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
But, could you just fix that hyphenation there? It really annoys me.
What here? Yep, done.
Oh. Scrap the whole thing.
Look at that. Remember what I said about my lowest billable segment being 15 minutes? Quids in.
We have Sassy Tony today.
Right, here, what I'm going to do now is show you something with a sort of a button state. Go on.
Before you continue, no, I just wanted to thank the 842 community members that are in the stream today. It's a bank holiday, and wow, I'm super, happy to see you here on Adobe Live from the sofa. And also to remind everybody, today we're all using these free backgrounds for Zoom that Adobe Stock is giving away. I'm just gonna.
Should we change? Yeah, let's have a bit of a refresh.
I'm just gonna put the
link.
Let's
go for.
AR.
I'm not a fan. Wait, let's try something else.
I like the pandas, to be honest. I love the pandas. Love them.
All right.
I'll try another one too.
Oh, Rufus, the art director, is leaving us. Tony's delighted. Oh,
what?
It's the red carpet. Rufus on the red carpet. Dun, dun, dun. Right, let me crack on with doing this thing, because I think they're doing, mind you, we're doing pretty good, but I just want to make sure I've got enough time for the upload part here. So just for now, what I'm going to do is I am going to color. Actually, that's going to be kind of conflicting for those two things. So let me choose one at amber, one at red for the place markers. And I'm only changing the color here for the moment, so you can kind of understand what's going on. So in my storyboard, what I would like is a further level of interactivity where if someone clicks on one of the place markers, it reveals the city name and something else about the city. And in fact, I don't want to call it, I wanted to call it regional sales this morning, but now I don't. I want to call it Happy Place.
Oh.
11,897. Oh, it's two boxes too big, too small. Happy Place 11. that'll do for now. So that's what I want them to see. So I want this thing to appear when they perform that action, clicking on any of the markers. And of course, another thing you need to bear in mind with interactive documents is don't expect your user to know. They may know certain things on a web page, and there might be certain things that you can expect people to understand from that. But if you are presenting people with a document with your own navigation system, you have to give them a clue on how to use it, because what you need people to be happy when they're using these things. And that's one of the things that will frustrate people if they don't know where to click, or they miss something out because they didn't know you could do it. So, a small byline somewhere down here in this box that I'm also going to delete because it's overflowing. A small byline.
Rufus has gone interactive as well.
It's awesome. I've got a super clubby background on here as well. Let's do this one. It's really good. I've just switched to my picture of me, I think. I'll just turn my video off. It's all right.
No,
we're back. We're back.
I'm back.
We're back. Check this one out. Boom, boom,
ooh, trippy.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, you can get those free backgrounds from Adobe Stock. Just follow that link that I just posted. And also, yes, Tim was very right to also point to our Discord that we've prepared for these live streams from the sofa with UK artists. So
I'm right there right now, actually.
Yeah, come on over.
I'm right there.
Because that's where the conversation continues after the streams. Yep.
Yes. Right. Okay. So here's the thing for the moment. They are going to click on this object here, this marker, and this thing is going to appear. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, first of all, I think I'm going to drop a little animation on here. I'm just going to leave the name as it is for the moment. Okay. And I think I'll actually have I'll just have an appear just on that one. Now, one of the options I have further down is to hide this until it's animated, right, which I could do from there. So I could hide that. It's not always necessary, and probably not necessary in this step, but I did want to mention that you can actually do that. You can also hide something after animating. Then I'm going to get a button to control that. Okay, so, and this bit's going to be just a tiny bit fiddly. Right, I'm going to go to my buttons and forms panel, which is where everything else I do here is going to work. I'm going to go to the plus here. Okay, and I'm going to choose animation. Okay, now you can see that that had, I don't know if you did see actually, it had EPUB only. You'll see it when I go back next time. This isn't something that would work in quite the same way in interactive PDF. You can do this button thing, but not with the animation inside of it. So it's going to animate the only animation it could find on this page, right, which is that one, and it's going to play it like so. Okay, so it will play that particular animation. Now I could test that at the moment and reload that spread. Okay, and it's actually, right, did you see it? It's played it anyway. Now here's another gotcha with this. Let's examine that just a little bit more. I'm going to go back to this object. I'm going to go to animation, and these are the events that trigger it. Can you see that it actually says two? It says on page load and on release just here. So what I need to do is just remove on page load. So I just highlight it because it has a tick and remove it. Now it will only happen on release. Okay, so if I reload this spread, you can see it's not there. And then I can click on this and it plays, but it's not going away anywhere. So what I need to do is introduce something else to make it go away, but make it look as though I'm clicking on the same thing, if that makes sense. So here I'm going to go ahead. Let's just get the interactivity in for a start. Okay, so here is going to be an animation. Okay, it's going to be that particular animation there, but I'm going to choose reverse. Okay, so it's going to back that up. So let's test that again. This is the thing. It's add load test, right, to go through. So let's just go ahead with that.
I'm just imagining all these storyboards in your head, Tony.
Oh, no, it's crazy, especially when the circus is there today as well. It's so noisy. And if I click on this one, you can see it disappears like so. So that is working perfectly well. But I don't want two buttons side by side. So what I need to do is, when this button is present, this one needs to be present to start off with. In fact, let me make more use of the screen. This one here needs to be present to start off with. We don't need to see this one. But when this one has done its job, we only want to see that one. Okay, so we're going to have to tell them to switch around, and we can add multiple events to a trigger. So if I go back to buttons and forms, you can see that you have still a plus here at the top. So what I'm going to choose this time, okay, is I'm going to choose to show this item and hide this one. So hide itself, show that one. Okay, so here I go to actions, show hide buttons and forms. Okay, and you can see all of the different buttons that I've got in here. Okay, I could have sworn I named that one earlier on. Oh, button 9. That's because I didn't name it. Can you see I've fallen into my own trap? So, because I have a number of these things, because there's others on the spread, what I'm going to do is highlight these. Okay, and I'm just going to hide everything just for the moment because there's a lot of things on there. And I'll just go for button 9 and button 10, hide those. Okay, so that's button 9. This one here is button 10. So I'll go back to button 9, highlight just button 10, but say show that one. That makes sense? Okay, so here's what's happening. It will hide all of the other buttons, and you've got these icons that help you to do that. You can also tell them to ignore things as well. Show this one, hide this one. Let's test that out. We'll reload the spread. Okay, so when I click this, it should disappear. And there you go. The place marker is working. So now when I click this one, I need that one to hide itself and the other one to show again. So I'll go ahead, go back up to the top just here. Okay, select this button here, and then come along and add that action to it. So show hide buttons and forms. Now, because I've got a lot on there, because there are others that I prepared just in case I got along swimmingly, it's going to hide everything there just for the moment. Okay, so I'm hiding all of those things. Okay, then let me just click through that and go ahead, and that's a sticky thing, isn't it? Right. Fortunately, I can click on the icons here, so I'm going to get it to show button 9. Okay, so everything else is hidden. Button 9 is there. Again, test. And go ahead. Oh, I didn't replay the spread. There we go. So this one pops along here. And you can see that's working lovely. So now those two things are working. All I need to do is select the two of them. I'm going to click again on this button so that it becomes a key object. Right, then I'm going to choose to align them to the bottom and to the center. Now I know they're in exactly the same place. I can now give them both the same fill color, so the user will get no discernible difference. To them, they're just clicking on the same button. Now we go ahead and test that. There is a shortcut for that, by the way, to test them, and it is Shift-Alt or Shift-Option and return. And it opens it like so. So just reload the page. And there's our first marker, which of course could be anywhere on the map. Oops. There we are. And when I click again, away it goes. Click on. There's the marker. Click off. So it is a little bit, tiny bit faffy in that you've got to do those things.
What
but
is
it's faffy.
Oh.
Faffy.
F-A-F-F-Y.
Faffy.
Unless you're feeling super continental, in which case you go I.
Faffy.
Faffy. It's faffy. just a quick note for everybody, if they fancy a laugh today, have you ever seen the YouTube Google translation videos for French, where they've got words that sound exactly the same, different words?
Tony, do you know I'm French? So
yes, yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah, but no, this was made by a French person.
Was it? Oh,
yeah, but it's really funny. But it's got something like my grandfather mows the lawn, and it's got like ton. It's really good.
Ah, the relationship between the UK and France.
I like
this
France. I love France. I had a fab French girlfriend once, Colombe, her name was. Anyway, actually I had two, thinking about it. Isabel as well.
At the same time, shocking.
No, not at the same time. No, they were separated by at least a week.
2 minutes left. Do you know
2
that?
minutes left. I'm done. I'm kind of there. So what I'm going to do is publish online.
There we go.
So this is going to go up now. Thank you for the heads up there, by the way. So I'm basically going to skip through this here. This is going to export as single pages, happy place. I'm not going to write a description for it. Okay, I'm just going to choose publish. And so this then gets uploaded to indd.adobe.com. Oh, there's a problem. Oh, one video might not play well on all browsers, but don't worry, I can investigate that later. So let's just carry on with that. So it starts uploading. It's a really fast uploader. Yeah, I hope the video does work.
Until it gets to the middle, and then
then it stops. It's got that easing curve on it. That's it.
Well,
it's a tease. It's a tease progress. I always wanted to open a bar called the Progress Bar, and I just didn't want to sign up. So the only sign I wanted was a blue bar that progressively went across like that and did exactly what this one is doing. But I never did.
Nice.
So there you are.
93.
Oh no. And the last bit will be the movie.
No, but that's the video. That's the video uploading. I know. Yeah.
Just a quick note while this one's going is that just a thing to note about interactivity in general on pages like this, right? When you push a document like this to interactive, and that's whether it's an EPUB or an interactive PDF or otherwise, the interaction gets separated out onto an invisible layer above the page elements. And some people fall foul of that sometimes, where they collect things together, they have them stacked up, and then they don't understand why it's clicking through. It is a layer, and it is just one thing thick. Yeah. So things that overlay, sometimes they don't work properly. Yeah, so just be very, very careful of that.
So Sandrine is challenging me with some French here.
Oh.
Mon fils collectionne les fils.
Say that again. My fish. My fish.
No fish.
It's not fish. I know fil is young girl, isn't it?
You go ahead. No.
Anyway, right, carry on. Right. Anyway, I'm going to copy the URL for that. Help, mummy. And then I'm going to close that. I'm going to go to a browser, and I am going to go ahead and paste that link into the browser here. Nice, super long encrypted link there. And then the page will start to load. So you can see on page load, that fades nicely. We all know what happens if I click on that, so I'm not going to do it. You get a nice little page display here if you want, of thumbnails of the different pages. You can also navigate using either your own navigation system or the arrows that you have here. So these things playing nicely. I think we're pretty much on time, aren't we? Just a minute over. So this will only take a moment or two to go there. Okay, here's the cat with the zoom window in the way. So let's just play the cat. Oh, could do that over here.
Yeah.
There you go. And I'll pause. And I'll play. I should have had resume as that one really, rather than that, because otherwise play just sends it right back to the beginning. And stop. There we are. And I'll go through to the next spread, the final spread here. We've already seen these things work, but you should see that they work there and then here. Whoops, I double clicked on that. So it clicks and closes, clicks and closes. And then the final page, I think, just says thanks. Oh no, there was a thing that I didn't put in. That was another thing that we can get rid of later, but anyway.
Anyway.
There we go. Hope you found that useful and fun, and you're going to investigate it. So,
and before we leave, I'm going to go back onto the red carpet.
Ooh.
yes.
Yeah. Because that was another great session with you, Tony. I love Friday sessions with you. Just so everybody knows, next Friday there will not be a Friday session, but there will be the Thursday session with Tony Harmer. Yeah.
Can't be the Friday go on a Thursday, though.
So we haven't cancelled Tony.
I have to be the Thursday chap.
We've just moved him one day. And wow, again, over 1,000 people watching this on from the sofa. This is awesome. Emma, what can we say? I love this.
What a day.
That in 30 streams, this is our 30th stream from the sofa. There was no Adobe Live in the UK before that. So in 30 streams, we've gathered on Discord, and maybe Tim can put the Discord link again. We have gathered here in the chat on Behance, and wow, I can't wait, for Monday, noon to 1 with UK artists.
Perfect.
Emma, take it away.
Thank you, Rufus. I mean, how exciting. There was a couple housekeeping things to get off with before we head on this bank holiday and the weekend. So Discord is one of them. The Zoom backgrounds that we're all using, obviously. So you've seen that link. And obviously, next week with Tony Harmer, the Tony Harmer Show on a Thursday for the first time ever. So let's... Tony's excited. So fancy Friday streams.
It's not going to be fancy Thursday stream, okay?
Ooh.
No.
You can still do it at home. Just let us know.
Yeah,
and join us on Discord. Right, guys. Have a great weekend, everyone. And thanks, Tony, again.
Take care, everyone. Stay safe. Happy weekending.
Happy bank holiday.
Bye.